I want to thank our chairman and Senator Collins and Senator Rockefeller, Senator Feinstein, our leader. I want to thank John Kyle and Sheldon Whitehouse as well. A lot of folks within this body and outside of this body who worked to get us this far. One of my favorite colleagues, along with the folks that are gathered on the stage, is a guy named Mike Enzi from Wyoming. He is fond of quoting the 80-20 rule, and I want to talk about that a little bit here today. And I said, what is the 80-20 rule? And he used it to describe how he's worked over the years with Ted Kennedy before Ted's death. Mike Enzi is a very conservative senior Republican on the Health, Education, Labor, Pensions Committee. Ted Kennedy, the very liberal senior Democrat on that committee. And the way Mike described it is this: he said, Ted and I, on most issues that came before that committee, agreed on about 80% of the issues. We disagreed on maybe 20% of the issues. And what he said, what they decided to do was to focus on the 80% on which they agreed. Set aside the other 20% for another day. And let me just say, the bipartisan cybersecurity legislation that we're unveiling here today is an 80-20 bill. This is an 80-20 bill. Is it worthwhile to pass a bill that only achieves 80% of what we want to do? Well, I would say, well, that's compared to what? Is it better than something that does nothing with respect to what we need to do? Obviously, it's a whole lot better than that. And given all that's at stake in today's world, you bet it's worthwhile. This much we should be able to agree on. So let's just try to get it done. This bill reminds me a little bit of the postal bill that Senator Lieberman and Senator Collins and I worked a whole lot on. It's one of those bills you got to get it on the floor, give it a chance to breathe, give people a chance to offer their amendments, debate them, vote them up or down, and then see if you can get the bill out of the floor and off to the House. That's the kind of bill this is. None of us who are original co-sponsors think this bill is perfect. We know it's going to be better. But as Senator Lieberman once said, we shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Have you heard that before? About 1 million times, huh? I said to my staff, I said, why would I say that? And he said, well, just because you want Lieberman to look good. So, like you're quoting him. But as Joe Lieberman once said, we shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, especially when America's economy and our national security are already under attack in cyberspace. But some of our colleagues offer compelling ideas that would make it better. I hope we'll embrace those ideas and include them in our legislation. On this next point, let me just be real clear. This bill is not the finish line. This is not the finish line. To paraphrase Churchill, it's not the end. It's not the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning. And as beginnings go, it's not bad. While working with our colleagues in the Senate and the House, let's find out how we can make it better, and I'm betting that we can. The bill represents a good faith effort to address the concerns of business and privacy groups and members on both sides of the aisle. My colleagues have already described the nature of the threats that our country faces, and they've outlined several of our legislation's most important provisions. I'm not going to repeat them, but let me reiterate maybe 3 or 4 important points, and I'll close. First, rather than direct the Department of Homeland Security to mandate new cybersecurity regulations for critical infrastructure, like our electricity grid, like our communication systems, like our safe water systems, we've endorsed an approach that relies on a public-private partnership and a voluntary cybersecurity program to strengthen the electronic backbone of our most sensitive systems. Second, instead of government penalties, or as Joe likes to say, instead of sticks, we're going to use some carrots. And our bill calls for using incentives like liability protection to encourage critical infrastructure owners to adopt voluntary cyber practices developed by industry. Third, this revised bill also provides a framework for the sharing of cyber threat information between the federal government and the private sector, as well as within the private sector itself, while offering liability and better privacy and civil liberties protection for all Americans. And then finally, to ensure that federal agencies are better equipped to stop these cyber attacks, the bill includes a number of security measures that I've worked on for years with Senator Collins and others to better protect our federal information systems. In particular, this bill would help replace our outdated paper-based security practices with a real-time with a real-time security system that can help our government fight the rapidly evolving and highly agile cyber threats that we face today. For example, agencies will be required to continuously monitor their systems like a security guard would watch a building through a video camera, rather than just taking a snapshot, developing the film, and reporting on the results once a year. Equally important, our bill makes a number of important investments in developing the next generation of cybersecurity professionals by providing stronger cybersecurity training and establishing better cybersecurity programs in our schools and our universities. This legislation also makes research and development for cybersecurity a priority in this country, so we can develop cutting-edge technologies here at home and bring jobs to our country. Doing so will not only make us safer as a nation, it will help ensure that America's workforce is better prepared for tomorrow's jobs market. And tomorrow is just around the corner. Thank you.